is Lady Myya. I am here with Queen Candace, and she is from Brooklyn, New York. And homegirl, she got it going on, like seriously. I mean, just talking with her and everything like that, like girlfriend's the truth. So I'm just gonna let y'all say hello to Miss Candace, Queen Candace.
Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much for having the time for little old me.
Of course.
Well, we gonna get started because girlfriend got a business, y'all. Self-proclaimed business. She started this thing just with a thought. Who else you know that's that powerful? That's be like, you know what? I just think I'm going through some stuff. I'm gonna need to build that into a business, and just it's just amazing. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology, and she's just trying to help those that are in debt. She got out of debt on her own. 50,000, y'all. 50. Not, this ain't no little stuff. 50. So I'm just gonna let her tell us what was going on. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
Of course.
So, like, I guess for me, it's more so like, okay, what? Not that you would ever have to ask to answer, but like, what was the debt? Like, I mean, was it like little stuff? Was it big chunks? You know?
Okay, so my debt was a combination of a really small student loan that I had, still had from college. It was 3 car notes rolled into one. Yeah, so that's a whole story in and of itself. I have had 5 cars since I was 21. So I have so rolling over debt into the car notes. And then of course, my emotional spending in my credit card debt. So yeah.
That'll do it. Because I believe most people that are coming out of college or even in college they're getting it real quick, and they're trying to figure out like how this actually works, especially with them not really making a whole lot of money, but yet and still they have credit and they have this so-called free money. So yes, I do understand that. Okay. I know, right? And so, like, what was the asset that made you want to find out about your situation, like as far as financially?
So I actually come from a very toxic family. And so coming from a psychology background, like I kind of knew that something was a little off with me, but I never really understood what it was until I went to college. And it was exacerbated when like I want to say like a year or two before, like the years 2014 to like 2017 was like where I incurred most of the credit card debt, right? And that was after I had been triggered from a breakup. So I broke up with my high school sweetheart. We had been together for 4.5 years. We lasted all throughout college, and then listen, after college, we was just like, bro, I don't know about this no more. Like, look. But I was, we were going to get married. We were going to have kids. We had planned our whole lives out together. And it was a lot for me to handle. So I was just really like emotional. And I was like, I've never had to like deal with such a big issue before like that. So it moved me into a very negative negative space. And so I started swiping my credit card, like a lot. And then the whole issue that was going on with my family made it worse. So instead of like, you know how some people, they're like, oh, I'm an emotional spender. I just spent like 200 in one setting. No, I was spending like 2,000 in one setting. I would spend like $500 on clothes. I would go spend like $500 in electronics, and trips. Trips was the biggest thing. Like, I was just like, I don't want to be here. And so YOLO, and I was just flying out. Like, one year I flew out, like I had 6 different trips. Now, I haven't done anything like that in a long time, but I was like, I looked back on that year and I was like, whoa. That was a lot. So that was really like where I got, all that and what happened and why.
Honor. Oh, I think we got a little bit of that going on, kind of like in everybody, just a little bit. Nothing that we would ever try to admit, but just a little bit. So, what did you find in doing what? Now, and I see that you had that emotional thing, like you saw that it was that emotional spending, but like, did you get to the root of that? So was it just the causes and effect kind of situation? It was just the cross?
So I actually did go to a therapist and get diagnosed. I am diagnosed as I have reoccurrent depressive disorder and seasonal affective disorder, which is the anxiety part. So I have both the overwhelming chronic anxiety and the overwhelming chronic depression as well. And so with triggers, with emotional triggers, with traumatic events that happen to people like me, we spiral really fast and hard, right? So that's why the debt is like $50K as opposed to like, I'm just in a little $5K something, I messed up, I was swiping a little something. No, I was doing a lot. Like, I was doing the utmost. And so that's how we got to that $50K. But I definitely did get to the root cause of it, and finally got diagnosed and was like, this makes a lot of sense from my childhood. Like, I just have a lot of like anxiety attacks. At the time, I didn't know what they were. But when I finally went to the psychologist, they were like, yeah, so this, that, and the third. And I was like, oh, you know how a light bulb goes off and like the gears all set into place and you're like, damn it, that makes sense. Damn it. I should have came to you earlier. But there's such a stigma in the Black community, and I specifically come from a Southern and a Caribbean family, so definitely I'm not with the therapy type thing, right? Even though they all need therapy. So that was definitely it. I went and got diagnosed.
Wow. Okay, so it took the diagnosis to kind of give you a better understanding of what you were doing.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
That, you know what? A lot of us need to really reassess some of the things that we do, and that would just make more sense to us, and that way we wouldn't have to deal so harshly with $50,000 in debt or more.
A lot. I was like, wait, hold up, Candace. What is going on here? Because $50K is a lot. I also stopped looking at my bank account. So that was it. Like, I would just spend the money and not look. I wouldn't pay attention anymore. I stopped like being really adamant about my money and trying to figure out what's going on. I was just like, man, I got a credit card with a really great limit. I'm going to just keep swiping it, and that's just going to be it. So, yeah.
It's funny because, like, when you swipe it, you're not seeing numbers. You're just seeing the fact that it was approved.
Exactly.
Bag it up.
Right. Yes. That nice instant gratification.
I didn't want to say that, but you understand. Let me ask you this, because this one was deep for me, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, are you serious? Like, are you gonna ask that question? Basically, what mindset did you have that made you determine that you wanted to get yourself out of debt?
Okay. So back to that toxic family that I spoke about. I was just, I had, for about 3 years, I was like bouncing back and forth between like family houses, friends' houses, not really having a stable place to live. And so I was just like, I really want somewhere to call my own, somewhere someone can't kick me out, somewhere someone can't get mad at me and be like, well, I run this place and you got to do what I say and yah, yah, yah. Like, I'm not a grown person, right? So I was just like, man, look, I'm going to have to get out of here. But the thing is that in New York, the rent is so high that it's like, I'm not going to rent out a studio for $1,500. Why? When I can buy something for cheaper. And so that was the mindset that I had. And also, like, our family home was getting taken away, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I was just like, you know what? I just need to be out of this mess. I need to be away from these people and get to a healthier mental health state. And I can't do that here with them because they're the trigger. They're the constant daily trigger. So yeah, so I moved out of state and somewhere much cheaper, $1,100 mortgage, as opposed to in a duplex, as opposed to sitting there in a $1,500 4x4 studio.
That's not. Let's not do that. That's a waste.
Right.
Wow. I mean, you know what? The fact that you decided to start a business, just with this whole story of everything that kind of happened, like your dominoes and your Legos are just like, okay, this is where most of us are. You know, we're trying to figure out, because like, I'm okay. Yes, I'm a little bit older, just a smidge. And so I'm still working out what am I doing, because I've had 2 student loans and 3 kids. So yeah, trying to figure out how to get myself out of debt, because that's what I'm trying to do in regards to my business. It's just that, to have that type of mindset and that determination to do so is big. So like, starting this business, how did you start this?
So it's really funny. It's interesting because I never ever actually saw myself as an entrepreneur. I never saw myself working for myself at all. Now it's all I could think about. But I ran on social media because I had been like basically document. I'm a millennial, right? So we like to be on social media telling people like, look, I messed up. Here's how I messed up. Y'all gonna watch me fix it, right? So I was on social media basically like documenting my debt payoff journey. I was like, yeah, I got a little closer. I was like, yeah, 10,000 to go kind of thing. And so I went on social media and I was like, y'all, I did it. I am done. I finished. 0 debt. I am good to go. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, we're so proud of you. Cause they, they've been watching me for a while, for a couple of years. It's like, right. Yes, you did it. You're great. You're amazing. But listen here. How in the world did you do that? And can you teach me how? Because sis, I need help. Because I had said I did it myself, right? Like I didn't have there was no debt settlement. There was no, I didn't do any consolidation, like formal consolidation with like a bank. I didn't do any of those loans. I didn't get any help. There was nobody financing, my debt payoff, right? No help from family or anything like that. And so they were like, how did you do it? Can you tell us how? And so I was like, yeah, sure, I can tell you how. And so for, a little bit of 2017, I kind of like went in and was like, okay, I'm going to do a little seminar here, a little workshop here, see if I like it. And then in 2018, I actually did establish my business. And I was like, this is what I was called to do. This is what I'm here for. Like I started to get a passion for it. I was like, oh, I like this. Like this makes me all warm and fuzzy inside. Like I feel great helping people get out of debt. Like this is great. And changing and shifting their mindset, because that's a big thing with our people, right? So the Black culture, it's like really hard for us to understand money and rebuild a healthy relationship with it. Because right now we just think it's the devil and it's something that we gotta fight against. No, you work with it. You work together, right? To get to whatever goal you're trying to get to. And so I was like, I'm thoroughly enjoying this process and I love doing it. And I created the Queen Blueprint.
and she's got it going on. Like, I've seen her page and I'm like, oh wow, she's doing this thing. I love it. And like, queen, okay, queen, I see you do it.
Oh man.
So how do you feel like right now that like what impact are you making now with the people that you are able to help?
So I actually did have, so one of my programs is called Blue, and that's the debt payoff program. So I have about 6 clients in that debt payoff program right now. And so I formed a support group now. So now it's getting bigger than just me helping them and being their accountability partner, because, you know, I'm so involved in their like financial lives. Like, I'm the person they call if they're like, Candace, I'm in the store right now and I don't know if I can help myself. I'm about to buy something. Like, that's how helpful I am in their process and shifting their mindset and, you know, giving them advice on, yeah, you should pay off this amount now and things like that, but also just impacting them in the issues that we are going through today, right? Like, right now we are going through racial trauma, we are going through pandemic trauma. And so some of these things can be triggers for people, right? So they're like, F it, I'm in debt. I'm always be in debt. I just want to swipe my credit card, right? So what I did was I formed a support group. And so we met on Zoom and I had all of the ladies introduce themselves, say what they're there for, how they've been helped, how can we help each other, kind of thing. And so now they have a nice little tight-knit community to help them, right? So now it's not, oh, Candace is going through this process all by herself. It's Candace and Cecily and, you know, Myya, and, you know, we're all in this together kind of thing. And that's beautiful, right? Just having that support system. And that's the impact I'm making on top of having 3 TV shows. Yeah. I don't know how it happened. It was like a snowball effect. But I do those as well. So I co-host one of them with 5 other young ladies who are absolutely amazing. And that's Young Boss Media. And then I also have my own show that just launched yesterday. I'm super proud of it. Cream Academy, which means cash rules everything around me, right? So that we can understand the holistic view of finances and financial healing and financial therapy and all that good stuff. Sharing Black money stories, because that can be someone's actual survival guide. Like, my money story is someone's survival guide. That's what I'm doing right now. And so I have that safe space for Black money stories. And then I'm also coming out with a talk show with Young Boss Media called Royalty. And I will be, so that will be a talk show on economic advocacy. And it's more so about just understanding policies, procedures, and programs that are out there for us globally, nationally, in America, at the local level and at the individual level as well. So just getting a little bit more back into politics, which I was very heavy into in high school. So getting back into that. And I'm also a financial editor on Lady Magazine, where I give like financial tips and do the whole, you know, whatever information that comes to me, I just put it in the magazine for an article. It's a bi-monthly magazine. And so that's what I do. I advocate on the financial aspect of everything that has to do with our life.
Wow, that is amazing. Oh my goodness. People, I tell you, I just am so proud. I feel like I need to be on somebody's front porch, you know, just rocking back. You
are not that old. Stop it.
I know. Oh my goodness. But I'm super, super proud of you, girlfriend. Super proud of you. God, I'm telling you, you're going to take off. You're going to bring a lot of people with you, and that's going to be such an awesome thing. Okay. Last question. Where are we going from here?
From here, I hope we're going to, I want to do a lot of business internationally. So I am Bayesian American, and I feel as though a part of the problem with generational poverty in the Black community has a lot to do with Black identity. So we're dealing with this Black identity crisis. We're dealing with what's called the generational inferiority complex, which is basically a really fancy word of saying we feel less than because we've been told we're less than all of our lives, right? And so that mentality has been passed down generation to generation. Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to break that. I want to break the cycle. Yeah. Right? I want to end generational poverty for the Black community as a whole. And I can't do that just being here in America. Mm-hmm. So I want to travel to, you know, back and forth to my homeland, Barbados, and helping their economy, as well as, you know, establishing the link, you know, standing in the gap between that information, and also Africa as well, right? Because we all come from the motherland. So I also want to bridge the gap between Black Americans, African Americans, and, you know, Africans. Like, we need to get back our connection, right, to who we are. And I feel like that's the key to unlocking, you know, generational wealth.
Right. That's true. Very true. Wow. Yeah, because, like, you know, you'll hear the people kind of joking around and saying, yeah, I should have been a king in Africa, and I was this, and I was that. I had gold, and I had this. And you're like, dude, Jerome, I'm gonna need you to sit down.
What if he did though? You just gonna knock him down like that?
But that's like our first initial thought, you know? And then you're like, I think there's some truth to that. You know, I think that we don't know as much as we should. And this is why, you know, some of the other cultures or races aren't that sure. And so now they're like, well, if they're not that sure about it, and our people have already shown, like, we have to make them smaller than us because they're so much better than us at doing pretty much everything. And so we kind of showed that off on, you know, on the field, basketball court, and then golf. We was on it, you know, just saying.
Right. Exactly.
But they see that as being threat. And this is why they're so angry, and they're just so ready to take us out, because they feel like there's too many of them, and they wouldn't be able to really fight back because of the strength that we do have already. So if we're in a bigger quantity of, that's a lot of strength. That's a lot of strength.
Unity, let's go.
UNITY. Yes. And so I'm telling you, if we could, I think to have a fairer understanding of just life in general would make things a lot more simpler, for at least the people that care to know, you know, and in hopes that they'll be able to get to someone that may have just a little more resistance, but still willing to hear. So
absolutely.
That's all I pray for. I pray for just let them hear anything. It doesn't matter. But yes, girlfriend, if you want to tell my Mayans anything about yourself or whatever you want to say, you know, this is your plug, sweetheart.
Oh, this is my plug. All right, guys. So you can find me at The Queen Blueprint on Instagram and Facebook. I also have a Facebook group where I drop a lot of knowledge in. I drop a lot of knowledge on all of my social media platforms, totally free. But in that group, I get a little bit more intimate with, you know, my TV shows and all of that good stuff. And we actually talk about what do you guys need, right? Because that's the big thing. And also sharing your money stories with me so that I can share them with everyone else. And we can all have a grand survival guide to getting better with our finances, right? So that group is called Queen Blueprint TV. And like I said, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Queen Blueprint. And you can book a session with me and let's chat. You can go to thequeenblueprint.com.
That all there for you, thequeenblueprint.com. So, you know, it's not going to take much for you not to be able to actually find her. So she's super accessible, you guys. She's the sweetest thing. She's just like, okay, Myya, got you. All right, what day? And I was like, I don't have to go.
Let us go.
You know, I don't like to chase. guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for living your best life with Lady Myya. We were definitely just want to give you guys prayers and everything for every situation that is happening at this point in time. Please just stay safe. Be smart about what you're doing. Be mindful about those around you. But we want to give you more peace, love, every step. Okay? You guys, thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I need some comments, y'all. I'm telling you, Queen Candace, I'm gonna get her back here and I'm gonna be like, okay, this is what they say. We gonna have to talk on this. So, I mean, unless y'all just want to do your own thing, you know, I mean, there's that.
I'll come back for the Mayans.
I appreciate your time, dear heart. Thank you so much, you guys. And you guys have a wonderful day.